have to access?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, and it might be good to cover the difference between native applications and technology-specific ones, because you can set up your videos or your material such that it works in any browser. It doesn't matter whether it's Apple or Windows, etc. And then there's a way to do it where it's for specific to a platform, and that's where students will frequently encounter problems because they won't be using that platform. Is there a general, is there any sort of standard or particular preferences within the colleges regarding the technology platform?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even know. I know that they help students because they give them free programs if they bring their laptops in, but then I found out some of our students are still using desktop computers. So then I don't know if they can update or upgrade their software, or what is it that they are using. It's just all over the place, even though the college does everything within its limits, you know, to help students and instructors. But it gets very complicated, and I often feel like I get bogged down with all these details, and there's very little time left for actually presenting the material that I want.
Yeah,
having a conversation.
A primer in technology interoperability and how to create files that are more interoperable.
So
We were talking about.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
We were talking about having a checklist for students to sort of say, what kind of technology do you have? How old is it? You know, do you have a camera? Do you have, you know, so that because we as faculty are spending a lot of time sort of resending files and reformatting files, et cetera. And then you find out that they have a really old computer or something and it's never going to work. So trying to get that information up front. And I think we just had this conversation yesterday, I think talking to our IT department about what that minimum criteria would be or what to troubleshoot, et cetera. So.
It's a great idea.
Yep.
So that's what you were thinking, Yuta, when you asked that, the types of, I mean, there's different operating systems, there's different devices, it might be a tablet, it might be a laptop. All those are what you're asking about, right?
Right, so there's a way to use both the file formats and the players that work across devices. And one way to do that is to use web apps and file formats that are compatible with HTML. But of course, the different Apple and Microsoft and a variety of operating systems want to, or Amazon, etc., want to differentiate their products. And so they'll offer additional bells and whistles. Mm-hmm. But when you use that, then they won't work on, I mean, they're intentionally not as interoperable on other platforms. So we can cover sort of a comparison of give a primer on interoperability, how to choose something that works across different platforms and different devices.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, at Stonechild, we're using Teams for the most part, but some people are using Moodle. And I have a Windows-based computer and a MacBook Pro. And I also have my phone, which is Android, and I have an iPad. So I'm able to look at all four of the devices to see if everything is working. This pretty much the same for everybody. And I do find some disparity, but for the most part, everything works for them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So you can monitor however they are going to be accessing that content if you've got multiple devices. Yes, that's one solution.
Moodle is intentionally done in a web compatible format, so it's supposed to. So in some cases, what happens is the learning management system is doing that intervention and making sure that it works across the different operating systems.
That's a good point. They all need to be designed that way to be as accessible as possible to everybody, regardless of their device. So that's really good. But I think that's a great idea to do kind of a bit of a tutorial on interoperability. Any other thoughts or questions? If you did receive the reminder about our workshop today, you'll know that the topic today is the basic first steps in editing. Last week, Moema did a presentation, a workshop basically on the basics of recording. You know, different things to think about, the lighting, the angle of the camera, you know, essentially getting your content into some sort of a recorded format. So now, again, Moema will take the floor as soon as I shut up, and begin the discussion of how you can, at the very minimum, start to edit your content and get it ready for distribution to whoever your audience is. So I guess with that, Moema, if you want to go ahead and start, that would be great.
Hello, everybody. Hi. I have a question. Al, is the one that we did last time already on our page? Sorry, I forgot to check on that. The video recording.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't think I sent that link to Utah to add it. Did I? I didn't, did I?
Oh,
No.
It's okay. I was just checking because if anybody wants to go back, then afterwards we're gonna put it up, and also I will edit it a little bit and put it on our Mixed Media Collective channel on YouTube, which I want to invite everybody to check it out and subscribe, because we're going to start editing and adding all the videos there too. So I'm going to put the link right here, so you can start following that too, for all our videos are going to be there. So yeah, if you missed last week, you can go back and look how to start recording your videos. And for today, as we said, we're going to talk a little bit after you recorded how to start the process for editing. So before we start editing, I think preparation is really important. So I'm going to go over a few points about that, and everything that I'm saying here we're going to put on the wiki page too, so you're going to be able to check again over there. So I think it's very important before you jump in trying to edit and put things together, that a thing that is really good to do, especially if you're editing your own material, it's to watch what you did with, if you made your notes, your bullet points before you recorded, what we've been calling kind of your storyboard of sorts. Just watch everything and make notes, and with the time, like the times and everything of the notes, of what you want to cut, or if you realize, oh, I should have said this, or I should have made this a little bit more clear. So just put a note, oh, I'm going to add maybe a text here to just make that part a little bit more clear, or I'm going to add an extra image, or maybe I'm going to pause this moment and add a voiceover, something, if something is missing, or maybe I over-explained, it's too much, I'm going to cut this part. Just make all those notes before you start the actual process, because you're going to save a lot of time. Like, I cannot tell enough how much time you can save just by doing that. And then once you're ready to start, another thing that is essential, and please do it, is put everything you use, put in a folder, on the same folder. What I normally do is I create one folder. Let's say I'm editing a video about how to record a video. So I will name that video like recording a video, that folder, recording a video. In there, when I create my project, I will save there. And then inside of it, I will create other folders called footage, another one called sound, another one called still. Still means all the images that are not moving at all. Like it can be pictures, it can be drawings, it can be even images of, even if it's images of a text, as long as it's images, I put it there. And in the sound folder, I just put everything, even if it's a voiceover and a song, I put in there. It's fine, unless it's a very extensive and a big project, then I separate by voiceover, music, sound effects, then I do that. But if it's a smallish project, I just put like that. And if I have enough space on my computer, or in my hard drive, if I use, let's say, the intro form, if I have an intro, I do have an intro that I use in every video that I create, and that it's not a big file. So I copy and paste to every folder I use. And the reason is, when I open my project, the project will search for all these. Sorry, can if you're not speaking right now, can you please mute, because if not, I keep hearing myself back.
So that's Cynthia.
Yeah, because I keep hearing myself back. It's a little, so what happens is every time you open your project, the software will search for the files you're working with. And let's say I finished my recording project and I'm gonna save it on a hard drive because I'm not gonna use that anymore. Or if I am certain, 100% sure I will never need it anymore, maybe I will even delete the whole thing. And if I'm using the same file for another project, it won't find anymore. So that's something I'm always like sure to do. Or another thing that it can happen is you decide to save it in a hard drive and work in another machine. If your files are everywhere, it's really hard to like just put it all together and to organize and go work in another machine or something like that. So just make sure, and it's very easy to forget, because sometimes you go online and you download a picture. And I do that all the time. I download a picture and then I go to downloads and I put it straight to my project. And then and then later on I'm like, switch computers, and I'm like, oh, it's on the downloaded folder on the other computer, so I have to go back and pick it up. So if you download something, make sure to, before you put on your project, put on the folder of your project. Yeah, like I said, it's very easy to forget. I do that all the time still, and I've been editing forever. Another important thing, it is to take breaks. If you're editing for a long time, just take a few breaks. Like sometimes you get stuck here and there, or even if you don't get stuck, sometimes it's good to leave and come back and have like fresh eyes to see what you're doing. Sometimes it just helps with a new perspective, or to see if things are the way you want it. Another thing I do if I get stuck is I just go online and I look for references. or again, if I have other things to do, I try to take my mind out of it, go work on other things, and then come back to that. It helps a lot. If you're using music or like any other kind of graphics, things like that, try to make it the simpler the best. Like music normally is good if it's just instrumental, because if there is lyrics, people can get distracted. If there's too many graphics or too many colors, too many things, sometimes it just takes away from what you're talking on the subject. Of course, if there is a reason for the lyrics, or there is a reason to get distracted at that moment, of course, then you use it. But in general, it's good to be like clean and let the viewer focus on what you're doing or on what you're talking. So I went ahead and I found a few, like I found this place where they have a list of a bunch of free editing softwares, but I ended up going back to the one that I think Yuta put on our wiki. That is the openshot.org. It's a open source one, and I think it's the most intuitive that I found. I will show you. Let me share this with you. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So right here on our wiki page, if you go to tools and resources, we already have a few. And right here on Openshot, you can go right here and find this one specifically that I'm showing today. What I thought of doing, because most softwares, they have kind of the basic idea of like, you have the sound and the video, and then you have a little window where you see what you're doing, and then you have where you're working and cutting and putting things. They're kind of very similar in structure. Some are more intuitive and some are less intuitive. So I thought that this one was one of the one that makes the more intuitive, but not so limited. There are a few other, there's a few others there. They're really good, but they're like super full of things that I was like, oh, this is too much. Like we don't need so much of these things. I was getting lost. And other ones are like super limited. You only can write things the way they put things there, or you cannot really like flip things around. Like it was really limited. So I thought this one was a good option, and works for PC and Mac. Yeah, so I thought it was a good choice. So when you go there, you can download, I already did, so I'm not gonna download again, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's, because for me, it just downloaded for Mac, but I'm pretty sure it will recognize and go to the computer you have access to. And they do have a user guide that it's really cool too, that has a bunch of tutorials. When I saw online, one of the cons about this was that they didn't have so many tutorials online. But when I went here, it looked very, like there's a lot of information here, and to do I felt that to do what we need on a video, it really worked really great. Yeah. So and I'm pretty sure here you can see, I have this link that I will put on our wiki page too, and I just saw here that you can probably just click directly and will, yeah, and it goes to the download, so you can just download for the one that you need. All right, so, oh, another thing, I did record just a little bit of the beginning on because when I started, it was showing something that I thought that might be helpful. So when I first opened the program, and I think that's probably happens to everybody. See, it starts showing the tutorial for how you just do everything. So it just tells you that you drag footage here, and so I did, and then here it tells that you have then to drag it here. So once you install and put it, it will, you have the option to follow the tutorial that they're guiding you already also. So that was pretty cool too. You can go with it or not, but I thought it was a cool feature if you're learning. So what I thought of doing is kind of editing mock-up video very quickly, just so everybody can see how this one works, and we can all jump in and talk about it, and if there's any questions we can just solve and see how it works on the spot. How does that feel? Is that a good idea for you all? I'll take that as a yes, I guess. Yeah. The hands-on demonstration. Okay, so on a Mac, it's on an applications which I assume is very similar to PC. It's been so long since I used a PC. So in this one is right here. So you just click, and it opens right away. Let me take this out of here. So right here this is the window where you're gonna be seeing the videos. This is where all your content is, and here's where you're gonna be editing it. So right here, I already created I was playing around with our video from the COVID video with little Cody. So I have a few videos here already. I am calling it here workshops exports. It could have been footage too. It's just because these ones are already edited. That's why I put that name. So I will choose the one that is done, and I'm just gonna drag it here. So you see it's here, and if I put an audio, we're gonna not see anything, image not see anything, and video we see it because this is a video format. Then I already downloaded a sound, a little song from this place, which I'm gonna put there too. You can get free audio and music for your videos on this place on YouTube. So I downloaded one just for the fun of it. So if I drag it here, see, you're not gonna see because we are in the video window, but if you go to the audio window, it's there. And show all over there. And then let me see if I have an image. Oh, I have an image here, which is in the wrong folder. So I should create a folder here. And I'm gonna make it stills. So I'll take it out of there. And I'll put here. So I have to do all of this before I put it there, because if I change it afterwards, the program will be looking for it, because when I put it here, it was in another address, And then if I changed it afterwards, it would be looking for it and would ask me to relink, which is possible. It's just that it's double work. Okay, so, and then if I go image, because this is an image file, it's on the image file, right? All right, so what I'm gonna do just to demonstrate, I will get the little codey file and I'm gonna put it right here, and I don't need to take my headphones out so you can hear.
Good, and I'm so proud of you. You're eating all your dinner, you're getting heavy.
Can you please turn off your microphone? Someone, we can hear the dog and. All right, so I'm gonna press play just to see. So you can either go here or you can press the space bar when you click here, and the space bar also works. Can you hear the sound okay of the video? Let's see.
This is little Cody. He's like a nice fella. He's very outgoing, charming.
Yeah. Sound is going, right? Okay, so on this program is a little different from some others, and I think it's cool that like you can rename the tracks, so so you can even be more organized. So here I could put Cody, right? Okay, so let's say that I want to change. I don't want to have this part anymore here, so I can stop there. And this part here, because I want to be very specific where I'm cutting. So this part here, you can either go here and make it big. You see that it makes this bigger, or I can just touch here, and I need to make my zoom window. I'm gonna put my zoom window on the other screen because it's getting on the way. Hold on. Okay. And here minus, it makes it go smaller again, if you see here. So I will make it bigger so I can be very precise of where I want to cut, because I don't want to cut here. I want to cut where it is totally black. And then this is, sorry? Oh. And this is the cutting tool. So you just press here, and then you go here, and you cut it. And then you press there. Oh, why is it not cutting? Okay, twice, you have to press twice. And then you go there to go back to the arrow. And then this part selected, I just press delete. So now we don't have that part at the beginning anymore. And let's say that it's because at the beginning, I now want to change this to this image of the space. I'm changing this whole movie now. And then I will just drag it to this part. And I'm going to come here, rename to space. You don't have to do that. I am just exploring that too because I think it's cool. But then you see that it's overlapping here to this part. For some reason, it's a little slow, my processor, but okay. I could either go here and make the image smaller inside time-wise because it's already 4 seconds, or I could, actually I could press Command Z, and on PC, it is actually Control-Z or Alt backspace, I think. That's what it said online. And then I can go here on this one. And because I want to see the whole timeline, I would go a little smaller here, and I would go here and just put it there. And you see that there is this blue line right here. I need to be touching. There is a blue line appears there. That is because this tool is on, and this tool is really good to be on, because if it's off, hold on. Oh, it's like that tool. It helps you place them to, like, it snaps them together. Like it helps make it be very precise to one video to the other. If you do want, maybe you want them to overlap a little bit, what I do is I place this like where I want it to overlap, and then I go with this. But I also prefer to always have that on because it's easier to snap them together. But right now I don't want that. I just want to put it there. So, and then let's say that we want into the depth Sting song for the intro too. We would drag it, put it here. And let's just play that to see. So I click here. All right. So that song is very short. Probably we would look for something more for that. But one thing that bothers me here is the black bars, because they're not the same size of the real video. What we would do in this program, we would go here and we would right click, go to transform. But if I transform with this cursor right in the middle, look what's gonna happen. I'm gonna like make it bigger right here, right? And do you see that right here there is a green little mark? That's what happens. It will animate it instead of just making it into the place. So I'm gonna Control-Z it. You have to do it at the beginning of your picture. So you have to go right click, transform, then you go there and you make the size that you want. And then and the last thing I want to add to this intro is a title. So I'm going to click here, I'm going to go title, and then I'm going to choose, there's all of these full of things. So let's see, sunset title. Then I'm going to be, give it a name for this Cody test, and then this new name is going to be, let's say, Space Cody. And then it gives you options to change the text color. Let's see, maybe this blue. And then the background color. Okay, then it took a lot of the effect, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna cancel and redo it because I messed up with their preset, and I'm just gonna leave it as it is. There's other options there. All right, so let me see if I drag it and put it here. Yeah. So, oh, another thing we have to pay attention is if I, for example, for some reason did this, whoops, had the other orders changed, we wouldn't see it because this one is on top. So it's important to always have the words on the first tracks. So okay, so let me stop a little bit. Any questions so far that I could stop, go back? No one?
There was a question in the text. What are the drawbacks of using an external hard drive to store all of your files?
Depending on, the only thing I can think of is depending on the quality of your hard drive, it can make the editing slower. But it also depends on how heavy is your footage. If you're recording like not into super heavy footage, which we can talk in a little bit, there are very affordable hard drives that can handle it well, and it's actually better because then you're not overloading your computer. For some reason, I can't see the chat now that I'm sharing. I could before.
Hello?
I went to.
I have a question.
Yeah?
Just a basic question of accessibility. Is this program available for free through AHEC?
It's free for everybody.
Oh, okay, all right. Because I'm an instructor from Haskell Indian Nations, and you know, I was, just wanting to see what you might have addressed this a bit at the beginning. I came in a little late, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, if you go to the AHEC website, it's on there, and I have a Dell. Is it?
Yeah, it's for all, it's for PCs and Macs. Yeah, and it's open source.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So there are additional chat questions. Does it automatically save the original video before you start cutting parts out? And can you do multiple layers of audio also?
Yes. So it will never mess up with the original video. The original video will always be there. It only changes here on the timeline, but the original video will be there. And yes, you can, let me get another, I will show you in a second how to put another layer of audio. And
then there's one more question. Can you edit Zoom video clips?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, we can do that in a second. Perfect question. One thing that I think I messed it up because I got too excited to start editing. I am not sure if I saved it at the beginning. That's very important. First thing, please start your video. Don't do what I just did. Save your file, open it. Did it? I'm not sure. Yeah, I did not. So you can either press Command S, or I imagine in PC's Control S, or you can go File, Save Project, and this will open. I will go here, and in this case, I'm just saving on the general editing, in the general editing folder. Again, if it is a big project, or if I'm gonna have to have a lot of feedback from other people, I also go and I create a folder called projects. And then I normally do, like in this case, let's say space, Cody, and then .1, and I will say like that. Why? Because then if I send it to somebody to review it and I get notes, I like to then go and just duplicate that and save as .2 in case I send it to get notes and somebody's like, oh no, actually I prefer what you did on the first cut, so I can go back, use that, and then use part of that, and then start combine on the new project I'm gonna do. So depending on some projects, I have more files. You depending on the kind of editing software you have, you can also just create new sequences, but sometimes you end up with so many sequences that it's easier just to keep saving projects. It all depends. But so again, this is just another way to keep your projects organized. Like in this one, I would have already like 2, because I have this one that I was just playing around with it. So I would just keep all my projects here. All right, so let's go and do a test with, get back to the musical library. I'm gonna go here and let's choose, so this is the YouTube audio library that I was saying that there are free things to download. What I always try first is go to attribution and get the one that is not required. And then I look for duration, like in that case is less than 30 seconds. Let's say mood, inspirational. And because I put attribution not required, there's not many options, but if you put with the attribution required, there's more. And the only thing you need then is to give credit at the end, which is not a big deal. So, and then you can listen to it. Right, and so I would just download a random one just so we can use for multiple sound files. So remember, I'm on Finder, and I always go to downloads. I get this, I put on my sound thing, and where is it? Oh, here, it's new. All right, so I can go to my sound, oops, get the new song, put it here. But right now they are on the same line, so they would not overlap. So you want to put them on top of each other so they can overlap. So let's hear how it would be. So yeah, so that's how that is gonna be. Another thing that I always do with videos, I don't like to start it with the image right away. So I would do this. I would select it all. And then I would move like slightly, like that, to start like that, and then and then this program comes already with some effects. What we could do as well, if I go back to what it was before, oops. I could go, for example, here, and I go to right click, and I go and I ask for fade. I can go fading and fade out, let's see, slow, right? So I put only on this one. So I'm gonna put on this one too, so they all start the same way and slow. So that will solve my problem of not starting with the image already. So.
This is little Cody. He seems like a nice fella. He's very outgoing, charming, and very deceiving.
And if you are hearing that it is a little choppy sometimes, things like that, this is only because it happens sometimes when you're editing. It's trying like to render and process everything at once. So when you play back, sometimes it's still working. So that can happen. Don't worry, when you export, that's not gonna happen. And if you wait a little bit and play it again, or if you play through and then go back, normally you will play the way it should be playing, like with no, not stopping and not doing all that funny thing. Is there any other questions right now? Or should I?
I have a question.
Yes.
Are you limited to what, 5 tracks? Can you add tracks?
No, you can add tracks.
Okay.
Yeah, you go right click. Let me see. I saw that. Okay, here, add track above, add track below. You right click on this area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, Moema.
Yes.
I'm brand new at this. This is going to take a long time to do the first one, but it gets easier, right? It gets easier.
Oh, it does.
It looks like this could be like my full-time job.
Oh, yes. No, but it does. And like, please, like, contact me. We can do one-on-one. We can go do together. Let's, it gets easier and it gets fun. And with this one is, I think it's a very good, like, intuitive one, like where you can put things fun, like drag and put, just, if you don't even need to be doing all of this. Like if you want to just make a video where it's, like, let's say, we can start a new one where you will just, like, let's pretend we didn't do any of this, and the only thing you need, let's pretend this is just like a video that you just record on your phone, and it's just you explaining a lesson. And you just want to add a title. So you would just open your program, save it, you know, and drag the video here, go find a title, write the name of the video, save, and then you just drag like we did. We would, like, let's pretend that, and you just drag here. You can immediately just go and export right away and your video is done. Like, we are kind of playing around here. I'm just trying to show all that this can do, but we can also just make it very simple. And let's just say, for example, you just want to cut a few, like I showed before, you just want to cut some, oh, I started it with, like, I didn't start it at the moment I wanna, I said something like I was still fidgeting or something like that. You don't need all these tracks. We just added a bunch of things for fun. You're gonna just work with your video right here. You placed it, you're gonna play it, find a moment that you don't like on your video. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is the moment that I really start. So I'm gonna cut all this beginning. I'm gonna grab this, double click, and then this part is in red. I can even just press delete and it's gonna delete that. And then you can go and export, which I'm gonna show in a second how to export, and that's it.
Can you show how to do a cut in the middle, like an cut?
Yes. Let's pretend that this is gonna be, let's pretend we don't want this that he does.
Cute little Cody here.
There's another moment he does that because I just cut it. Let's
this
see.
is called coronavirus disease 2019.
Actually,
also known as.
I have an idea. Okay. What I just did here was just Command Z. Let me just find that, because that's such a tiny thing, and I want to show even tiny things, how to cut tiny things, which are the ums that we do a lot. So
he's very outgoing, charming, and very deceiving.
So all we want to cut is the, oh, I can't do that sound. So remember, we need to go really in the timeline. So we're just gonna expand it, right? And then we're gonna be like, so okay. Let's say it's just a little, this example is kind of not so good because it blends, but I will hear it again.
He's very outgoing, charming, and very deceiving.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right after I hear the boop. Okay.
Very deceiving.
Okay, so it's right. I would be listening to it.
Stella, he's very outgoing, charming, and very deceiving.
Okay. So I think right here is good. So I will take this, double click, then I go back here, then I go to, and I could have done the other way around. I'm just
charming, very.
Okay, so it is when, okay, right there, it's right before I click here, double click there, and here to deselect, so I select that one. You see I'm selecting the one under, and I delete it. And then I can join them, which I just select and move around. I think let me see what this is. Let me go back. I think I cut it twice, sorry. This should not be that hard.
Can't you zoom in on that individual track like you can in that movie maker and stuff? It'd be easier.
Yeah, I thought I just did. Let's see again. Yeah, this is the max. I'm zooming to the max. See, this is the, and this is the max. All right, let's do this again. I might have, okay. Right here is, he's going to, okay, right there, he started going up, got this, the scissors, double click. Okay. Now I do this. This is interesting. Just give me 1 second. I might be, okay, it's 1 click. If I double click, it's cutting more than what I need. Okay, in the middle, let's see.
Very
Okay.
exciting.
Okay, you click once and 2, okay. And then right there, I get it again. Click again, do it, select just that part, delete. But then it's not joined, it's not going together. So you have to drag it unless you want to put something else to substitute that part. But if you don't, you just drag it.
Charming.
So that is not there anymore. And it's just 1 click to cut. If not, it does something that I'm not sure what it is. I will research because this is a little different from the one I use. But it looks like it copies it and creates a new clip. It's really funny. But is that helpful? Does that answer the question? Want me to do it again in another part, just so we...
No, it's good. We're good.
Yeah?
And Moema, there's a question. Do you save the file as MP4 when you complete your video clip after all editing? What would be an ideal time format for video clips to teach a concept? 5, 10, or 15-minute raw video?
Let me see if I... do you say what would be an ideal time format for videos to teach a course?
Oh, you can see the chats now? I'll stop.
Now I can, yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't see before because I couldn't find this bar. Now I found it, it was lost, thank you. Okay, so for editing, if you know that your lesson is gonna be, let's say, a 15-minute lesson, I would try to break down your video to 3 videos of 5 minutes, for example, just because when you put everything on your timeline, it's easier to work with it than to have a huge 15-minute video on your timeline. But again, it's not a deal breaker. Like if you're gonna edit a Zoom meeting, you're gonna have like the other day I edited a 2-hour one. It is fine. It's just, if you have control of it, why not break it down a little bit for your own sake, so you're not editing so this timeline for you is not so big that sometimes, you know, you go back and forth. Like you have to be doing like so much of this all the time to find the moments you are working, because your videos are so long when you're editing. Does that make sense? And when we go on the part of exporting, we can go over the files, how to export the files. There's any... What happens to the parts? Okay, so the part that I cut, it is deleted from here, but the file that you recorded will always be, it will never be, like, the file that I'm working there that I just cut is called Little Cody June. It will always be here preserved. That will never change. It will just change what you're doing here. And let's say you're like, oh no, I really wanted that part and it's too way ahead. I don't even know if doing Command Z will redo it because it's so much. I already saved it so much. It's all the way there. You can always go here where you putting all your things. Let's go to videos because it's easier to find. If you drag it back, like let's say you create another track there and you put here, I will delete this so you can see. This file that I just dragged back, it's not modified, so you see. I'm gonna delete the one I messed it up, and I'm gonna play this.
This is little Cody. He seems like a nice fella. He's very outgoing, charming, and very deceiving.
So this, everything that is there, it's the same, is not gonna change. It only changes here on the timeline, and it's only be going, I'm only gonna have this as a new video when I export. So, yeah, so even when I export, it's gonna be a new file. So this file is gonna be preserved. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. Okay. No, you do have to, is there a feature that cuts out empty parts like pauses, etc. in the whole while? Such features would help save time, I mean, in the whole file. You mean like if there is a moment that you're not speaking, or if it's already, what, can you explain better to me this question, please?
Yes, I think Camcast or some other program had that feature that kind of goes through the whole file and takes out all the pauses so that it reduces the length of the file, you know, because when I record something and I speak, I mean, there are some pauses, and that way I can make the file shorter if that feature existed. That just goes through and kind of condenses the whole file. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And there are other programs that allow you to highlight where there is a pause in the audio, so that for someone that can't see the video or the images, you can add video descriptions. So, and some people use that to highlight the places where there are pauses where you can add things.
Oh, I'm not sure about this one. I would have to look through, but I'm not familiar with it on,
okay.
On it. Yeah, I would have to look through it. Yeah, because that's interesting, but at the same time, if you, I'm not sure, because a lot of times there are pauses or people are not speaking, but there are pictures or something there. So I'm not sure if this one would do it.
Yeah.
I would have to look through to answer that question. Sorry. Any other questions for now? Okay. And just another thing I want to show that you could do here, because with Little Cody, one of the ideas is to translate to other languages and use subtitles and all that. And here you can also, with the titles, you can go and, let's say, not this one. There's this one. I think this title could be used for subtitles. You could just like subtitle test. And then you save it. And then you, again, drag it and you would follow the size of, right, of whatever, if, let's say.
This is little Cody.
Right, let me actually change that then to make it. If I need to change, I go there, I press with the right, and I go edit title, and then I would go I save.
Moema, if can I just add, if you're going to create serious subtitles, there are additional programs that you can use where you can add captions and subtitles, where it actually guides you in determining what's the optimal length for a subtitle, and it helps you to synchronize it with the audio so that the subtitle matches the audio that is spoken as well. So you don't necessarily need to do the subtitling within this. There are specific subtitling applications as well.
And yes, and it would be much easier and better. And they're here too, right? Like
CapScribe is one, Amara is another, but I can add additional ones. And just as a comment on the figuring out where the pauses are and being in your audio and adding descriptive audio there, that can be quite helpful if you have students who are listening to your class while they're in a car, or their eyes are busy in some way, or they only are listening to it on a phone. Then if there is material that they should be seeing, or there's information you're conveying through the video, then it turns it almost into an audio book of sorts. And so even students that don't have a screen or are not viewing the course while they have a screen in front of them can get the gist of what you're trying to convey.
So yeah, so check this out. There's a lot of cool things. And if you use, please make comments here to tell us if it's good. All right, so that's another option. And okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna just cut the rest of this because I'm gonna go to export now, and I don't wanna export a big file, just so this is just a test, just to show. So, okay, finished our movie. I'm gonna go here and do a fade at the end of the clip. So it would end like that.
This is little Cody.
And we go right here, export video. I would normally, right here, it's already showing that it's going to where we want it to go, kind of, but always make sure, because sometimes it will go to the last time you exported. So if you were working on another project, it might export to the folder of the other project you were, so check it. So I did this, oops, desktop here, and I like to create a new folder called exports, because again, if you are doing tests, if you find a mistake or something, if you ended up doing more than one, so space Cody .1, and then here is where you're going to look for the format that you want. The MP4 8.264 is always a good format to choose. I would not change this. I would leave like that. If your video is not like an hour long, and if you have some space, I would keep it high quality. And see, you have like so many options in here. HD 720, 30 frames, 1280 for 720. It is more than enough for YouTube. So the one that YouTube or for a computer screen and normally all the other normally students are watching, I don't think, in a bigger screen than a computer screen. So, and it's high resolution. So I would say that this is a very good one, the one that it comes already. I would keep like that unless you're working on a project that requires more attention, or might be going to a festival, or might be going to a place that requires more quality, or that somebody might manipulate again where they are working with it, and they might change it again, so then it would lose some quality. I would not try to go much higher than that. You can always go to 1080 and 1080, and yeah, I would not go much more than that. I think this is good. So, and then you just press export video. And as you see, this is a very short video, so it's going fast. And another thing I forgot to mention, again, this is very basic. We are assuming that you are recording it in a quiet place, you got your sound good, and all of that. If you do need to make it a little, like, let's say, the sound, for some reason you need to put it a little higher, you can go here and right click, go to properties, and here you could put the volume a little up, more up. But yeah, that's the only other thing that I wanted to mention. Like, you can also work with volume, and there are many other features, but I think that basic things that we need, it would be adding sound, controlling volume, adding titles, and all of that. If there's anything I'm forgetting, please let me know, and we can talk about it. So we go then to exports, and then we double click, and let's see what we did.
This is little Cody.
Okay. So I stopped share for now. If we need, I can go back. I just, anything else, any questions?
Thank you, Moema. That was a lot of content there. How are you all? Are you all ready now to start your video editing projects?
I had a question.
Yeah.
So like, if we're gonna record, like, let's say ourselves for some of these videos. Do you recommend like using our camera phones, or is it better to use like an HD digital video recorder? What do you think is the best one that would be, you know, compatible with this program?
Whatever you have, pretty much. We're gonna put up the videos from last week that we covered all of that, and I think we go deeper on that. But the camera itself, it's not. I think the most important is how you set it up. It's how you like put the lights, like not the lights, but if you have a place where you can like have enough lights for the camera not to be so grainy. If you have like, now, which phone do you have? If you don't mind me asking, like
it's a Samsung S10.
Oh yeah, perfect. Like, yeah, it's like if you have a good smartphone, you don't have to. You can use a smartphone if you have a laptop, if you have that with a camera, all of that. It's much more how you structure your frame and the lights around you. If you have natural light, or if you have some table lights, if you have things like that, it's more important than the camera. And like I said, we covered all of that, a lot of that last week, and we're gonna put it up if you want to take a look or reach out. And yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any more questions? I guess we're about ready to wind up.
There is can you narrate during editing? I would have to see if this one has a function for narrating, for like recording sound directly to it, but I would not recommend to try to edit and narrate at the same time. I would, if you, it's an interesting question because you have sometimes a lot of people try to ask me that when they're making a movie, like, should I record the narration first and then the images so I know how much time I need of images, or the other way around? And I think it always depends on the content and what you need to say and show. So if you already have the images of what you need, and you know for sure that that's the amount of time you're going to do it, and there's nothing else you're going to add, I would edit that and then make the narration afterwards as I watch it, or more or less, so I can have an idea of time and all of that. Or I would not, if it's the other way around, I would narrate it so I would narrate first, so I have an idea of how long the narration lasts, to know how much images I need to complete the narration. Does it make sense? I would not try to narrate as I'm editing, because then it limits your process.
Okay, very good. You have some more comments yet, Moema?
No, I was just gonna say, unless you're doing, like, for example, like the video that Yuta showed, where you already have your presentation and you're like recording like the PowerPoint one, so you have it, you're already done, you know, like, and you're showing and you know what you're saying and showing it as you go, and you have a program like that, then it's a little different. But if you're like working with a program like this, trying to edit and narrate on top, it would not be, yeah, it wouldn't really work for this kind of program.
Okay, very good. Any final comments or questions before we wrap up for today? A lot there to think about and work with. Thank you, Moema, very much.
And I'm sorry, I realized that not everybody's here every time. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have to figure it out which day was that, but we have it recorded when Yuta gave this great presentation about using PowerPoint to record your videos as well. So it's on our log.
Yes, and I think Yuta just did upload the last week's recording, so you can go ahead and check that out at the wiki as well.
Yeah, as well as July 7th.
Thank you, Yuta, very much.
Thank you.
So thanks everyone for participating. We look forward to seeing you next week. Again, thanks Moema, and thanks Yuta.
Thank you.
And you all have a great week and see you next Tuesday.